What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Before we get started today, I do want to let you know we do have the indie stream from Nintendo going on later on today. That's at 1 p.m. Eastern. 12:30 p.m. we will have the pre-show, and then we will also have a post-show after the stream. So we should hopefully see a bunch of new, or at least current indie games that are coming out, because according to Nintendo, these indie games will be coming out later on of 2017 and then early 2018, so there are going to be more current things, maybe even release dates. I would love to see a release date for a few of the indie games coming up, but again, we'll talk more about that in the pre-show, and then you can come by and hang out with us during the live stream as well. It should be a lot of fun, but with that, let's get started. The first thing we're going to talk about today is the Miiverse, at least the soon-to-be discontinued Miiverse. Now, of course, if you were really with Nintendo's consoles around the Wii U and the 3DS time when they were really popular, you know what the Miiverse is. It was kind of like a social network attached to the system, so you could do things like leave notes about, well, enemies you're having a hard time with, or parts of the game you're stuck with. This is the big, there were so many funny things that came out of this just because you could tell maybe the younger generation didn't really know what was going on with older games. For example, this is where the big meme of Super Metroid, where somebody left a note asking why Samus couldn't crawl. I think they even said, why can't Metroid crawl? Something like that. So it was really funny to see, but it was great because people could communicate and ask questions, ask for help with games that they're having a hard time with, or generally just put out crude pictures, which would happen from time to time. But it was a cool idea. Just according to Nintendo, people are using other ways to communicate, different social networks, things with obviously their cell phone, and even Nintendo now has an app that I'm sure they will continue to develop alongside of the Switch, and I guess the 3DS if they keep that going any longer. But the Switch might even have its own type of Miiverse developed and released at some point. Hard to say, and now a lot of people are looking at it saying, well, what's going to happen to the games that are attached to Miiverse, or at least have used it in the past, to where it's kind of been, well, kind of integral to some of the functionality, because Miiverse is set to close down November 7th at 10 p.m. Pacific time. That, of course, is, was at 1 a.m. here Eastern time, so that night, it's just gonna go away. What'll happen is it'll still be on your dashboard or your desktop, whatever you want to call it, on either system. It's just when you pick it, it'll just give you an error message because, well, there's nothing to connect to anymore. And yeah, there are several games, like we were saying, that need Miiverse just to function in some way, shape, or form. For example, a game like Mario Kart 8. Well, you're not going to be able to have tournaments in Mario Kart 8, apparently, with the Wii U once the Miiverse goes. And you also won't be able to share your gameplay videos to YouTube, and that was connected to Miiverse, so that's going to be a bit of an issue there. Splatoon. The original Splatoon was, of course, using Miiverse to populate Inkopolis with players' drawings, so that's how you saw all those different drawings, whether they were good or bad in your mind. That's how you saw them, was through the Miiverse. Other games such as Super Mario 3D World will be affected, as well as Super Mario Maker, which is going to be the most interesting one, because I think that's the game that a lot of people still play a lot of to this day on the Wii U, because, well, it's such a cool game to play. Even if you have the Switch, you probably still turn on your Wii U to play Super Mario Maker, at least until it eventually comes over to the Switch in some way, shape, or form. I feel like that game it just has way too much potential to leave on the Wii U and never bring it over to the Switch. But without Miiverse, players really won't be able to comment on shared levels, for example, which was, I think, kind of a big deal, because then obviously you leave little notes behind on different levels. Either you destroyed it, or it is so unfair you have to leave, obviously, a bunch of asterisks and stars behind when you talk about it. And of course, the 3DS version did not have any kind of Miiverse functionality or level sharing, so that won't be affected at all. There's a ton of games that are going to be affected. They do have them all posted on the Nintendo site and how it's going to be affected without Miiverse, so I would check that out if any of your favorite games have Miiverse attached to it that you still maybe play on your Wii U. You might want to go look at it on their website and see what's actually affected and how badly really it will, I don't want to say gimp, but it will definitely cut off some functionality from the games. And then we look forward to, well, where does Nintendo go from here? Do they just develop their app alongside the Switch, or do they build something in that's similar to Miiverse to the Switch? Because you have to know that they're going to discontinue that kind of stuff going forward for the Wii U, but I think a lot of people were assuming that Miiverse would just find its way onto the Switch, and then they would cut down the Wii U and the 3DS version when those systems are discontinued. Sounds like if they're going to do it, they would just be rebooting the entire service under some other name and bring it to the Switch, if that's what they want to do. Or maybe we already have it and it's on our cell phones. Next up, Gear Club Unlimited did get a new trailer that includes gameplay for the Nintendo Switch. This appears to be, from what I can tell, a port of some kind for Gear Club True Racing that's over on Android right now. So it's going to be kind of a port. Now, that game is free to play on Android right now, and people like it. It's apparently a good simulation racing games for your phone or your tablet or any Android-based device. Even, I guess, the NVIDIA Shield would count for that too. But they're going to be bringing it over to the Switch, and people are a little concerned that it's going to pretty much be a mobile or like a cell phone game that's just brought over. But there's a lot of things we don't know. We don't know how much it's going to cost. We don't know when it comes out, and we don't know what's going to be a part of it. Now, the name suggests, at this point, Gear Club Unlimited, that there is no restrictions around, obviously, a free-to-play game. It's just going to be everything's in the game. We assume they're going to fine-tune it for the Switch. As you see in the trailer, it looks pretty good overall visually. So it looks like they're going to put some work into it. And keep in mind, this is Eden Games. They do have history with Test Drive. So if you like any of the Test Drive Unlimited games, well, this will probably play similar to that because it's the same company that's developing it. Or maybe you've already played this on your cell phone or your tablet. I would assume it'd be something in that neighborhood, that kind of ballpark of gameplay. Except they'll add controls natively, so it will probably use the Joy-Cons. It might still have motion controls with it. A lot of cell phone games, tablet games that are like car racers, generally you can use like the tablet's gyro for like a steering wheel almost. You just hold it and kind of steer around like that. I know Asphalt did that, for example. But a lot of people want a good racing game that's like a simulation-based race game. I'm not talking about something like Mario Kart. This might be in the neighborhood of something like a Need for Speed, for example. So if you enjoy those type of racing games, maybe keep an eye on this and see when it comes out, what kind of reviews it gets, and how it compares to, say, the mobile version. Next up, let's talk about Stardew Valley. It's a game I've been excited for a while to come to the Switch because it's going to boast that co-op gameplay, and of course, having Stardew Valley as a handheld game is going to be awesome. It's really cool on Steam and, of course, PS4 and Xbox One. But what's interesting here is we haven't really heard much about it. Occasionally developers will say, hey, we're finding bugs and we're looking through them, we're testing on our end to find all these bugs. So it's kind of been a let's wait and see kind of deal here with, well, this game. And it looks like finally we have some kind of confirmation that their end of testing is done and they are now submitting it to Nintendo to, well, take a final look at it. And this was posted over on Twitter by Ty saying Stardew Valley Switch is coming along very well. The last known bugs have been fixed and we're submitting for testing this week. People get excited because this means that as long as everything goes smoothly on the other side with Nintendo, this means that they are just about ready to set a date and we can either start pre-purchasing it in stores if there is a physical copy, although I think it's just going to be digital. Either way, we will see it probably pop up on the eShop soonish. We may even see it in the, more likely will, in the Nindies later on today, which is really cool. Maybe even at PAX West we'll see some gameplay for it. But I really hope they show off some of the co-op play in real time because I really want to try this game out with someone else locally and have some fun because this game can be kind of a chore at times when you're cleaning up your farm. I feel like having two people doing it will make it so much better. And honestly, this game, it would be a blast to just kind of hang out in bed or on a couch just relaxing and playing because this is a game that can really help you unwind after a stressful day at work. So we'll keep an eye on it for Stardew Valley, see if we get some kind of release date, but I am excited. And oh boy, if you were excited for Sonic Mania on the consoles, you probably picked the right version. A lot of people were trying to figure out, why is the PC version not out yet? It should be, right? I mean, it's a pretty straightforward port of the game. It's pretty much Sonic. It's not like it's a super taxing or demanding game. Well, apparently, they employed at least a DRM, well, at least a type of DRM that we are all familiar with, a little too well at this point in Denuvo. And what an interesting way to get Sonic Mania off the ground, using that and requiring you to be online to play. That's right, several users now have found that not only does it have the dreaded DRM that can slow down load times, we saw it with Rhyme, where once it was cracked, they just removed it and it started running better. Not only that, but it's a single-player experience, something meant to play offline, but you have to be signed in, for example, to Steam Online for it to work. So this has online requirements for DRM for Sonic Mania, which of course has people, well, a little upset, as I would expect. It's weird that they would need this because fans of the series will put the money out. I understand they're worried about piracy because this game, one, isn't a big download, it's very small, and two, most computers can run it. However, they have to understand that they are casting a very large net with this game. People who are younger will play it, people who are older will play it, people with terrible computers will play it. But most of those people aren't going to go to a piracy site and download it. They won't. Sure, some will, but honestly, those are outliers of people. A lot of people want to spend the $20. Come on, guys, it's $20. How many hoops do you think people are going to jump through to get this game and save $20 when they're going to what probably are virus-infested waters with some of these sites and jumping through hoops of downloading torrents, especially if you're not as familiar and you just heard, oh, cool, Sonic's out. Maybe I'll go see if I can get it for free. Or maybe I'll just spend $20, get it from Steam, a known platform that's not going to give my computer a virus. I don't have to jump through all of these hoops with peer-to-peer, and I can just be playing it in 5 minutes. Take the DRM off. It doesn't need online only. Come on now. And it's weird is the developers are pointing at Sega. Sega's pointing at other people. Everyone's pointing in different directions because no one wants to take responsibility for this. It's just so bad. Take the protection off. It's not going to get pirated as bad as you think. People will just hand over $20 and start playing right away. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Bully 2. And I know you probably have played the original Bully. It was a great game. Came out on the PS2 what feels like forever ago. Was also put out on the 360. I remember when that came out. Now the Scholarship Edition. That still, I think, is probably the best version to play because when they put it on the PC, it had some weird issues. The graphical settings were all over the place. And it seems like, well, if you want to play it, you play it on 360 or now the backwards compatible Xbox One. And fans have been wanting Bully 2. It seems like it's all Grand Theft Auto, all Red Dead Redemption, but of course concept art did leak out, and this was from GameZone. Apparently they went digging, found some sources that in their words are reliable, and those sources confirmed that not only is that concept art legitimate, but Bully 2 has been in development for a while now, and it's probably next up after Red Dead Redemption 2. And while we cannot at this point confirm anything other than that, so in our words, they are using an unconfirmed source, it sounds like, at least it makes sense, right, that Bully 2 is probably in development. Once that concept art leaked, that tells us that they have probably been working on it, or at least have it in their mind to be putting this out. And I'm excited because the first Bully was a great idea. It was a teen-rated Grand Theft Auto almost in a really cool schoolyard setting, and maybe they take it a one step further. I hope they keep it teen-rated because that seemed to be a great idea because it was a demographic that they could target that maybe they couldn't target with Grand Theft Auto, although moms seem to buy it for their kids anyway. But Bully made sense for the kids, right? Not even like all kids, because I was a teenager that played it and liked the game. But still, great game, and I like the setting. Maybe they go into college with Bully 2. There's a lot of stuff they can do, and according to the source, after Red Dead Redemption 2 is done, because that's what's on their plate and that's what they're focused on, maybe they start looking towards the future, and Bully 2 is next, before Grand Theft Auto 6 even. That could be interesting. That's it for Newswave today, guys. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. All that good stuff. Let me know what you think about any of this stuff we talked about today. Like Miiverse. Are you sad that Miiverse is going away? Do you have a lot of fond memories with it? I'm sure plenty of people do because there were some really funny times. I'm sure there were some pretty crude pictures drawn. I'm sure maybe you even got past the level because somebody left you a note and helped you out. I know Mario Maker heavily benefited from Miiverse with some of those notes because some of them were just absolutely hilarious. Also, let me think about the online always DRM for Sonic Mania. Does that annoy you that a game like that needs to be online? It kind of annoys me, to be honest, especially when I look at the console counterparts, and they don't need to be online. So if I was a PC gamer, I'd be a little frustrated, although I'd probably just go to my console and buy it because, well, if they are going to attach that kind of requirement, I'll go buy it elsewhere. You know, that's kind of the way it goes. Also, guys, let me know what you think about the Nindies coming up. Join us for our pre-show and then our live stream. I'm really excited to see some indie games. Hopefully, Stardew Valley gets a date. Thanks, guys, for watching. I'll see you later on today.